Welcome to lesson 2.2 entitled What Really Happened? So we are again talking about stories, and we are going to look at narrative tenses. So the tenses are verbs that you normally use to talk about a story, to tell a story. And we are going to see vocabulary related to the news that you see on TV, on a newspaper, etc. And talk about important events in history. Okay? The first part, we can do it in class, if any. Second activity, second A, you need to listen to this audio file and then answer the question, which stories can you see in the photos? In which photos? There are photos here, these three photographs. Okay, so you need to put a word per story, let's say. Then you're supposed to do activity 3A and read this definition, okay? But we can do this in class. In any case, you can do this. Read the text. You're supposed to read this text. The world's best known conspiracy theories, BBC Focus magazine takes a look. Okay, so you have three stories here, or conspiracy theory stories. Okay, Man on the Moon, A Royal Affair, and the Death of a President. Okay, so these are the three stories. Okay, then you need to answer these questions, but just a short answer and no punctuation. So for instance, who was killed in a crash? You write Princess Diana, okay? Who was shot? President Kennedy. Who was arrested? And then write the first name and the last name. Who was murdered? First name and last name. And who were the suspects? Okay, first name, last name. Who was photographed? First name, last name. For the second part of this activity, it says, how are these words and phrases related to the stories? We have shadows, stars, a love story, alcohol, photographs and photographers, a man with a gun, a flag, the FBI, or the Federal Bureau of Investigation from the movies, right? So what I've done is I've turned that into a fill in the gap activity. So you have shadows in the photos of and then you write one word per gap. In the photos of the moon landing. Okay, so you're supposed to write one word in every gap. Okay, and this is how you tell how this is related to the different stories. You have an explanation of the narrative sentences. It says, read the summary, find and underline examples of the past simple and past continuous, and answer the questions. Okay. So the text says Princess Diana's car crashed, past simple, and it was driving through the Pont de l'Alma tunnel in Paris. Conspiracy theorists claim that that's a simple past, that MI6 planned her death because she was having an affair with Mr. Al-Fayed. Okay, so which tense do we use to talk about the main events in a story? What you need to write is a gap. And there you have examples. And which tense do we use to give the background information in a story? Okay, that's normally past simple and past continuous. Okay, so both. In this part, you're going to write examples of the past simple and the past perfect from this little text. For instance, concluded is an example of past simple. Then we have part C of activity number 5. It says underline the correct alternative to complete the rule. So what we use the past perfect to talk about actions which happened a very long time ago, before the past time event that we are talking about. Then we move to page 130 and look at the language bank. Here on the left, you need to read this and make a difference between the narrative tenses. The past simple, we use it for actions or states of the past. You have an example there. I left university in 1996. Then we have the past continuous to talk about something or background information that somebody needs to know to understand the story. As I was walking through the park, the sun was shining and the birds were singing. Then suddenly something happened. So this is the background and this is what happened. Background, action. So have a look at the examples here. And then past perfect. You have how to form it. So we have the verb to have and the past participle of the main verb, the negative and the question, in which there is an inversion here of the subject and verb. They had they, okay, as usual. And I didn't have any money because I had lost my wallet. So the past perfect talks about something that is even previous to the past simple. Okay, I didn't have any money because before that I had lost. In Spanish it's very, very similar. No tenía dinero porque había perdido. This would be había in Spanish, okay? So if you want to have that in your minds, that's perfect. And then you move to the right part of, or the right hand side and do these two activities. First one says underline the correct alternative, okay? Instead of underlining in the platform, you're going to simply write the right choice. For instance, in the example, I remember when Marvin Gaye, this is the right answer, you write died, okay? Just died, okay? You don't need punctuation marks, no punctuation marks in this activity in the platform. Then you will move to the second one. It says find and correct the mistakes. One sentence is correct. And let's say that these are the mistakes. I was living in a room when I heard, okay, remember background and then a past simple. I couldn't open the door because I'd left my keys at home. I had left them, okay? We were driving through the tunnel. Background information when the car broke down, past simple. Event. As soon as the film started, I realized I'd seen it before, so this is previous to the past simple. The film started, but that happened even before, had happened before. I'd never been to Egypt before, so I was really excited to see the pyramids. So this is again past perfect. By the time we arrived at the party, mind the preposition arrived at the party, everybody else was leaving background information. Number 7 is correct. And number 8, I was looking through some old photographs, background information, when I found this one of you. So this is the event. Then you'll move back to page 24 and do activity number 6, in which we do the same. It's a fill in the gap activity. What you need to do is write the letter here. So complete the text with the phrases from here, but you're using just the letter in the platform. For instance, number 1 is letter D. I was in the crowd of the parade in Cape Town that day. It was hot. It was a hot day and 50,000 people were waiting to see Mandela walk free from prison. So we just write D, the letter, and nothing else. Activity number 7, vocabulary. The news is very similar. You need to match headlines. These are headlines 1 to 9 or to 10. So the headlines of a piece of news, like this one, fraud fugitive in Facebook trap, and then a story. So these are headlines for stories. And you have the explanation, because normally they are so compressed that sometimes it's difficult to understand them in English. So, for instance, number 1 would be Prime Minister's wife dies in a crash, and that's letter G. A woman is killed in a car accident. So you just write letter G and do the same for the others. Then we'll move to page 149 to do the vocabulary bank activity. You get to page 49, you look for this activity, news. It says read the text and match the words or phrases in bold. This is bold, armed robbers attempted raid, at gunpoint forced, proceeded to, getaway vehicle, raise the alarm, arrested, escape, eyewitness, with the definitions 1 to 13 below. So the first one, to continue to, would be proceeded to. Proceeded to is what you write here in number 1, and do the same for the others. We'll go back to page 25, and do this activity is something we may decide to do in class. And then we've got activity number 9A. In 9A, you have to answer these questions. Who's the story about? But you will see a sentence with 2 gaps. For instance, Maxi, and then you have to write Sopo. Okay, what happened? He, and then you need to fill in the gap for he was for fraud in the United States, and you need to put the word in the gap to make it more simple for you. Of course, before you try to answer these questions, you need to read this text thoroughly, this piece of news. Then you've got the second part of this reading activity or writing activity. Says read the news report, so this article here, and find examples of the following. So you're supposed to say the number of the lines. Okay, for instance, quotes used to give someone's opinion. So these are quotes. We've got an example on line 10. Okay, so we start writing, numbering 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, and 10. So these are examples of quotes when you use to reproduce someone's opinion or exact words. And you have to do the same for the others. So you write line number 9. There are more. There are 2 more examples of these. Okay, for this one there is only 1. For this one there are 2, and for this one there are 2 that you have to find. Just write the number of the line. Finally, we've got exercise 10. It says look at the reports and find examples of the time linkers in the box. Try to do that on your own, as soon as, and see them in context. While, during, until, the stress is on the second one, or by the time. And then you need to do this one. Look at the words or phrases in the box, these box, and use a time linker you need in the gaps in here. Okay, and you have an example. Happened previously, by the time. Okay, so you need to put these in these gaps in here, just that. And the same for these, but completing or using these in real sentences. Okay, the example for this would be I came as soon as I heard the news. And then the rest is something that we may decide to do in class.